No matter where you turn your gaze, you can find history in the form of ancient ruins, artifacts and caves and whatnot. However, mountains are somewhat special. They're some of the most magical yet mysterious places on Earth. They're home to a variety of natural wonders and at the same time are home to some of the world's greatest mysteries because you never know what you might find there. In this world of wonders, what are the recent chilling discoveries that have been made on these mountains? Join us as we together witness these jaw-dropping discoveries that push the boundaries of human knowledge. Although it may sound like something out of a storybook, Erica and Hemmet Simon, a German couple, stumbled upon the ultimate historical surprise during their leisurely hike across the Niederjagdferner Glacier in the Alps in the year 1991. Little did they know that their chance encounter with a seemingly unfortunate mountaineer who probably died on the mountain on his trek would turn out to be a rendezvous with a timeless icon. At first, the duo imagined it was a run-of-the-mill accident, but oh, how were they wrong. As it turned out later, the mummified corpse they had found was no mere mortal, but a 5,300-year-old man whose body had been perfectly preserved all these years. Imagine the excitement and the horror they must have experienced. Now, let's rewind to the very beginning. After this amazing find, scientists named him Otzi. But how did Otzi earn his iconic name? Well, no need for elaborate radiocarbon analysis here. The mummy's discovery in the Ötztal Alps led Austrian journalist Karl Wendel to christen him Otzi, a name that will never be forgotten from the books of contemporary history. If you were to craft a profile for Otzi, some key details would be paramount. At the time of his demise, he was around 48 years old, stood about 160 centimeters tall, and weighed approximately 50 kilograms. With shoulder-length dark wavy hair and a beard, he sported a fairly tan complexion. Otzi's age, a ripe 48 years, surpassed the average lifespan of his contemporaries. Yet his health wasn't something to brag about. Tooth decay, periodontal disease, borreliosis, gastritis, the medical woes seemed endless. But none of these things actually led to his sudden demise. What could have happened to him? Years went by when scientists finally came to a shocking conclusion. Otzi met his fate by an arrow in his back. Somebody had murdered him. Now, we'll never know the rest of the story because, it's in the past. But there's one thing we know for sure. He did have a scrumptious meal before his death, indicated by his autopsy. Was Otzi killed as an act of revenge, or was it out of jealousy? No one will ever know. If you thought the Bermuda Triangle was the only place where the most people have gone missing without a trace, then you're in for an eye-opener. Have you ever heard about the Nyangani Hills? I'm sure most people haven't heard about this hill. However, there's something sinister going on here. The Nyangani Hills in Zimbabwe is a land teeming with dark mysteries lying in the African continent. This mountain is also known as the mountain that swallows people. Now, what could that all be about? This mountain has been a focal point of legends for centuries, believed to be inhabited by powerful ancestral spirits and supernatural entities. Local tradition advises caution, demanding respect for sacred locations to avoid falling under the wrath of vengeful spirits, whose mischievous tricks and ominous presence have long terrified the inhabitants of the region. Yet the unsettling mysteries do not end with folklore. Those who dare to venture to Mount Nyangani report bizarre occurrences and inexplicable phenomena. Compasses spin wildly, electrical equipment malfunctions, and photographs taken here often remain undeveloped, as if the mountain resists being captured by human lenses. The weather itself seems to have a malevolent mind, bringing sudden gusts of wind and thick fogs that stalk hikers like a sinister shadow. Disorientation, dizziness, and nausea grip visitors without warning, leaving even experienced hikers hopelessly lost. Talk about being lost. The mountain has also become a notorious location for strange disappearances. Travelers have vanished without a trace, and even when some reappear, their accounts are filled with tales of being trapped in a realm between realities. What I'm about to reveal to you is perhaps the most bewildering account of a traveler from the 1980s who was brave enough to explore this spooky hill. The traveler was a government official and was accompanied by two other companions. The trio mysteriously disappeared, and despite intensive search efforts spanning for 4 days, no trace could be found. When they were finally located, their story took a bizarre turn. They claim to have wandered aimlessly in a state of confusion during their absence, yet paradoxically, they experienced neither fatigue, dehydration, nor hunger throughout the ordeal. What's more puzzling is their assertion that they had spotted search parties frantically looking for them, but the rescuers couldn't see or hear them, as if something was preventing the rescuers from finding the trio. It was as if they had become invisible, neither seen nor heard by their saviors. There is literally no scientific explanation why this happened or why people feel such things on the mountain. But does this stop people from exploring the Nyangani Hills? Absolutely not. There will always be humans who have less regard for fairy tales and folklore, willing to do the unthinkable. Are you one of those people? Do you have the guts to explore the mountain that swallows people? The next case in line is an incident where 10 experienced hikers met their horrific fate on the Ural Mountains of Russia. A skiing trip with your friends is somewhat mandatory to strengthen your friendship, or that's what the internet says. Friends planned for months to make the trip and hit the slopes. But what could possibly go wrong? In the chilling winter of January 1959, a group of 10 young seasoned hikers decided that they wanted to go for a skiing expedition through the desolate expanse of Russia's Ural Mountains. Their path was a daunting 300-kilometer route, leading them to the remote village of Vizhai. Brimming with determination, they set out for the expedition of their lives. But little did they know that their journey would soon turn into a nightmare of terror and tragedy. As the treacherous journey unfolded, one hiker's health faltered, forcing them to abandon the quest and return home. Undeterred, the remaining 9 continued their sights set on reaching Vizhai by the 12th of January. But that day would never come. When authorities initiated a search for the group, nearly a week had passed since their expected arrival in Vizhai. Their hopes of finding the hikers safe and sound dwindled with each passing day, and then a stomach-churning discovery awaited them. On February 26, searchers stumbled upon the group's tent, half buried beneath a heap of snow. But it was empty. Where had all of them gone? What had happened to them? The answer lay beyond their worst nightmares. 5 hikers' lifeless bodies were discovered in a condition like that of an R-rated movie. Some of the hikers were found only in their underwear, while others barefoot or had mere socks on their feet. Scratches and cuts marred their lifeless bodies, and one of them even had burn marks on his body. The most horrifying sight was that of a hiker who had bitten off a piece of his own hand, the chunk still in his mouth. This incident came to be known as the infamous Diov Pass incident. It was only in May that the remaining 4 bodies were found. Even their bodies were not intact. Some had a badly fractured skull, while some had missing eyes and a tongue, and even smashed ribs and everything inhumane. What had happened to these hikers? Are humans behind these atrocities, or did these young explorers encounter something that defies our imagination? After months of speculation and investigation, nobody could identify the cause of death of these young individuals. While many blamed it on Yetis, UFOs, and other supernatural beings, nobody could jot down an actual explanation that was believable. However, in 2019, 2 Swiss engineers came to a conclusion that an avalanche had been the cause of this ordeal. The hikers had most probably cut a flat surface in the snow to pitch their tent. Their slope was too gentle for an avalanche, but the hikers cut into the snow directly above a locally steeper slope. This created a weaker snow slab that was exposed when they cut through the snow. The katabatic winds must have deposited fresh snow on the slope above the tent, coupled with the exposed slab, creating conditions for an avalanche. This slab must have sheared and slid straight into the tent, injuring the hikers. The measurements of the slab must have been accurate, moving about 2 meters per second when it hit the hikers, easily smashing their skull and ribs. They might have gone out of the snow, but in their minimal clothing, they stood no chance of survival. One of the hikers probably bit off a piece of his own flesh to check for frostbite. After they died, small carnivores probably chewed off the eyes and tongues from some of their bodies. Although this gave a scientific closure to the case, people still believe that something more sinister happened that day. Which of these discoveries did you find to be the most scary? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching.